Freaking go. Okay. Okay, this is big. This is actually huge. You know what? I'm gonna leave this stream up on YouTube and not delete it like my last one in honor of May 7th and May 8th. I'll say that now at the beginning of the stream. We're gonna play some Fall Guys because I need to record enough clips to add to my videos I'm gonna make, which is basically me doing retrospective on a bunch of content I like to watch, especially when I was a kid. You know, sort of like a childhood retrospection. You know, as content to make where I'm not just making slop that's kind of unwatchable. Hopefully, it'll be at least watchable. I'm gonna try to do that since streaming thing might have to is a side gig until I can affirm it later in the future as a financial hobby. Hustle slash hustle. It's more of a hustle. But yeah, it's the final unmuted stream. The rest of them will just be gameplay clips. I'll probably leave those up and I'll just put on the title gameplay clips and I'll make it specific games. But Titanfall 2, Jurassic World Evolution, and Sea of Thieves, they will come back later. I'll have to play them later once I need to make new videos. But thanks to YouTube, they literally just gave me a formula to use. And I'm going to first make a couple of videos on the FNAF movies. This will be coming out probably today, tomorrow, and at least before the next week. Oh my gosh, where are they? They're just giving me new freaking ideas just to troll. Like analyzing metaverse potential. What the frick is that? Building a gaming PC on a budget. The history of video game music. Gaming industry's impact on mental health. Okay. I'm going to use those ideas too. They're going to be a little bit shorter, just for fun. But they'll get longer sooner or later. Right now. Ooh, okay. Let's play some Fall Guys. This actually looks pretty good. I like this map. It's got a nice dark aesthetic. Oh my gosh. Come on. It looks like I'm professional. Come on. Yes! Alright. Oh wait, no, the edge. Oh yeah, I remember this one. That was with my first Fall Guys clip. Okay, yeah, that's why I like this map. Oh. I mean, yeah, it looks good even at the end. I enjoy this. First. 20 people. 4 more. See the risk we go up. More people. Come on. Show you I'm the master of Fall Guys. Oh yeah, so much master. Oh yeah. Nice. Out. How do I exit? How do you exit? How do you do it? How do I do that? There we go. Kind of confusing. Maybe it's just the Xbox. Skip. Yep. Play again. Let's go. Anyways, these videos are gonna be great. I have YouTubers I want to talk about, man. I'm definitely going to talk about because I know these specific niche of content I always enjoyed on YouTube, and I gotta get it out there because it's like the only videos I know I'm interested in doing. And you know what? That's a good advice to take. You know, like the best advice I ever got. I might clip. You know, I should clip this because the best advice I got for making YouTube videos or just making content creation, you know, videos in general or just content in general, is they say you do what you like, and specifically for like YouTube type of style, you know, that could expand to short form videos, you know, on Instagram, TikTok, Newgrounds. I should have put that one first instead of list the other sites, but you basically just do, you know, you make videos of what you're interested in. It totally makes sense. So example could be like if you're interested in art, hey, go for it. You got to do videos of art, but that is a bit daunting. I've done that, and it kind of was in not the greatest way, and it's only because I'm not the most talented artist right now. But I will improve later, and I do believe in that. So I mean, that's one of the things. That's one of the things that do count. It's like they say, it's the thought that counts, and that's very true. If you believe that you can, then you can. I mean, no, yep. I say yes. If you believe you can, yes you can. Oh. But yeah, if you believe you can, you know, and you put your mind to it, and you take the risks, you know, if you're determined enough, you will achieve your goal. That's literally, it's pretty simple, but it is kind of mentally taxing, you know, as a young buck myself, but it's definitely worth it, you know, for all that it's worth. But, you know, I'm not going to clip this. I'll probably just leave it in this stream. I'll just keep... Oh, my gosh. But, yeah, you know, it's a bit of... Okay, hold on. No. But it's basically what the content is like, you know. I'm already starting to have doubts I should keep this on YouTube, but... Yep, no. But yeah, when it comes to streaming, definitely is a bit huge risk, I might have to say. But one thing I do have to be thankful for, like, is that I got to experience what it's like to do all the streaming work. But it is kind of difficult, but it's also kind of easy, you know. It does come down to hiring other people to help you do it, from what I've heard. But let's stop talking about that. I'm already streaming. I'm doing a chill thing. Let go. Oh. Go. No. Oh, I'm starting. Oh my gosh, this is a good clip. Oh yeah, it's over. Oh no. Down there, down there. No, what are you doing? Camera. Oh wait, it's fake. It's fake. Oh my gosh. Wait, I didn't get it. Oh wait, no, I did. No. Oh. Woo! Tense. There it is. Ah. Oh my gosh. I'm a camper. I'm a filthy camper. Why am I such a filthy camper? I'm a filthy camper. Oh my gosh. Such riveting gameplay. What a game. You know what? But actually, I have an idea. Let's just do it on the spot. We'll talk. We're gonna do all these 3 gaming ideas or these video ideas in this video. We're just gonna talk about it, and we'll put a little image over that. Minutes. You know what? That's pretty good. I mean, it's not like 30 minutes. I don't need to make 30-minute videos, you know? Ah. Oh, I'm gonna delete this. Oh my gosh, what the frick? Now I understand why Twitch exists. Yo! Oh my gosh! Go, go, go! What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my gosh. Can't. I'm risking it. I'm risking it. Oh, so good. No, I'm not. Actually, no, I am. I am the best. Don't say you can't. That's the worst thing you can do. Yes, yes. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Whoa. Never mind. All right. That was good though. 14 minutes. Oh wait, doctors. One more round. Uno más round. One more round. Then we're gonna make these videos. And you know what? Yeah, let's do that. That's a perfect way to at least have a long video structure. That's a perfect way to do it. B button's not working. Back. There we go. Let's go. Third tries to chomp. Third. Okay, just one more round. Uno mas round. All right, it's not gambling. It should be good. Oh, that's a lot of people. Let's go. Oh, it's a race. Come on, man. Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast. Oh no. Come on now. Yeah, people are, I mean, does it, okay, you know what that makes me think? Does it really matter, the game, you know, the gameplay, especially if you do a commentary video? Like, I have seen that discussion happen. Like, it's probably not a big deal, you know? As long as the commentary, I don't want to say, you know, good, it might, well, I might say that it's subjective, it depends on whoever's making it, you know, but, I completed a lap. No. Nice. Oh, I'm fast. Yes. No. Let's go. I'm falling behind. Someone help. No. Wait. Okay, this round is a bit difficult. I'm sweating. Oh wow. What is this gravity? That's not how gravity works. Yes. Oh my gosh. Let's go. Wait. What's the edge? Oh man. Oh. All right. You know what? That was a good round, though. I'm glad I was proficient. Let's just use Cuphead as an example. We're not gonna play Cuphead, but we're gonna use it as background and we're gonna add a little title. All right. All right. What's the first video? All right. Let's just go by the history of video game music. Let's just. All right. All right. The history of video game music. All right. Straightforward parody. All right. Let's go. So the history so the history of video game music. So boom. Here's what it is. The first video game ever was, like regular games that are traditionally not video game music. And the music would vary. There would be no music or there'll be added music. You could say there's somebody playing a piano in a bar, or there's a freaking speaker or a radio or a TV. There's TV ambiance instead of music. It always varies. But when it comes to the video games later on in the future of technology and whatnot, from the 21st century, the music was only amateur or not amateur. It was more, how do you say, ancient, more caveman style, specifically to the notion of 8-bit music, and because the audio couldn't register anything higher, of a higher volume, like music being played on a record player. So that there's that, and then we could say at least late 80s. No, late 80s. He started the very 8-bit music, specifically with Mario. Well, that's the most famous example, but like early 90s and throughout the 90s, the music swiftly evolved into less 8-bit, but I mean, there's still 8-bit, but now there's more variety to it, and that's the whole history of video game music. And there you go. Your homework is pass the class or whatever the frick it is. All right, what's the next video idea? Here we go. This will be fun. Building a gaming PC. On a budget. All right. Okay. So building a gaming PC. When it comes to building a gaming, all right, hold on. Because I did have it plans to build a gaming PC, but that has to come later. Need more money. More money to solve more problems, like building a gaming PC with no LEDs. All right, but let's stop bullcrapping. So building a gaming PC on a budget. All right, now everybody who wants to build a gaming PC obviously wants to build a gaming PC, and everybody who wants to buy a gaming PC obviously knows about at least building a gaming PC, unless they thought of it never happened due to some type of willpower to just buy a gaming PC in general that they know exists. So we're specifically talking about on a budget, and I want to give a quick disclaimer. This is sort of a joke video, and I'm not the super expert on gaming PCs, but one advice I could give to everyone on gaming PCs, this is gonna be a personal preference, is LEDs are not required. And the reason I say that is they're only for show. I can give you an example right now. Well, I can't really because my webcam is not. I'm not using it right now, but I'm right now standing by a gaming PC that's not mine, and I can't really say currently because it's not going to be given to me. But what I can say is there are LEDs, but they're specific. Right now they're flourishing with different colors, even while it's on. And all I can say is the LEDs are a specific setting you can have and specific display, for an aesthetic. And it is better than owning LED lights to put on a room. But one thing I can say is they're not required. And I wouldn't mind to have, green LEDs on my game PC, but that has to come with, at least a substantial enough finances to buy it. So my advice, like I'm gonna do later in the future, is I'm going to when I build a game PC, it's after being able to require the parts, it will all be non-LEDs. That's the only advice for this video, and that'll happen when it comes to building a game PC. So if you're on a budget, just make sure you have no LEDs. That's basically what the takeaway of this video. Other than that, if you do want LEDs, another advice I could give to quickly end the video is don't get the lowest setting. I just learned this recently from one of my family members. Oh, specifically, don't get so like if you see a let's say example if you see a spectrum on the PC where there's the highest, medium, and lowest quality. If you're on a budget and you can't get the highest quality, get the medium. Don't get the lowest, or you'll screw yourself up. What I've heard. Now, with that being said, to end this outro off, what I gotta say, the most important thing is take everything I said in this video with a grain of salt. That's the end of the video. The outro will do the rest. Alright, what else? The metaverse. What the frick is that? Oh yeah, alright, this is gonna be this is an easy short form content clip. Alright, here we go. Easy. So we analyzed the freaking squeaky chair. Come on, wait a minute. We gotta go use some pounds. Alright. Serious mode. Now, analyzing the metaverse's potential in 2025. Now, gotta say, when it comes to the metaverse, it's quite the thing. But if anything, it is just, a thing. When it comes to exploring its potential, what I must say about the metaverse is that it should be taken with a grain of salt. Most importantly, it shouldn't be too serious. And the ideas are really weird. Oh yeah, but what I can say is definitely raise the prices. Now, this might be troubling, especially specifically for like AI, or not AI, virtual reality, headsets and equipment. The reason I say raise the prices is because it would just be funny, like, oh, you want to access this metaverse? Well, too bad. We're gonna spare you from dealing with all that. And I could give you one example. I have a VR headset. I didn't buy it because I was smart enough to not waste my money on it. But one thing I can tell you watching this video is you must at least know what you're gonna do with it. Because for me, I just play horror games, but it is too scary, especially in a more meta way, you know, than just on a computer. But with that being said, uh, but to end this video off, what I'd like to say is, if you want to analyze the metaverse's potential, please do research. I'm just doing this on a whim, and it's kind of hilarious. So, yeah, just look up the word metaverse to see what you can find out in 2025 or whatever your future you're in. But yeah, that's that. So that was it. Oh my gosh, I'm the master. All right, let's go to the saved ideas. Let's just finish these. Aha. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Oh yeah, this video will be worth it. FNAF. All right, this is gonna be good. Let's. All right. A look at the future of FNAF. Okay. So boom, start of the video. Five Nights at Freddy's is a big franchise. Blah 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 blah. Now, I want to look into the future of FNAF, and what I'm going to do right now is So, I'm gonna take my shorts. I'm gonna put them over my head, and we're gonna look into the future. Because right now the future is looking not too bad. Like there's a new game that's gonna be coming out called The Secrets of the Mimic, or I think it's gonna be coming out, yeah, October. If I can freaking look this up. Oh, June 13th. Okay, so yeah, it's bright. You know, it's a new entry, a new fresh entry into the FNAF franchise. You know, away from the original story with the Afton family. You know, not gonna say too much into what's going on over there, but yeah, we can just cut that out. That makes no sense. It's not important. But another thing we could definitely say as a high note is this December. I think, yeah, this December, Five Nights at Freddy's the movie, the sequel, will be coming out, which is pretty nice. Although I do stand by the fan made movie that will be coming out, Night 5 sequel might be better, but it just depends. I'll have to wait to make that video, but waiting for me would just be like closing my eyes and opening again, and the movie's already out. But with that being said, without any side tangents, we're gonna look to the future of FNAF. I don't have to say my thoughts anymore. All I know is that, hey, despite it, not being the same type of franchise it was, at least in the early 2010s, the future's still bright enough, because still racking in a lot of cash and still having a cultural impact, from a video game perspective, but now it might be from a film perspective, depending on who you ask. So let me go look into the future right now. Putting my shorts on in 3, 2, 1. Oh, 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 oh. So, I just looked into the future of FNAF. Uh, which one? Freaking have my webcam on to see this. I actually would have been better. But I must say, what I can say about the future of FNAF is, it's still around. That's all I can say. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not saying it. Well, let me just be straight up with you. It's not as bright as you think it is. Literally, the games will get darker in the sense of you won't be able to see anything, and you'll have to use a lot of flashlights in future installments. And the same goes for the lighting. Specifically the lighting will get darker, match the darker tone. It's sort of like they're trying to get away from the the era of where they kind of marketed more to younger audiences that know about this franchise. But yeah, with that being said, yeah, I'm messing with you. April Fools. But yeah, other than that, I don't know what else to say. I mean, you don't have to go super dark tone because FNAF is kind of ridiculous, but you know, it's all cool. Oh, oh, comprehensive. Oh, I'm sweating. Oh, this is gonna be interesting. I might be able to do this, but I am sweating like crazy. Okay, next segment. Sit on the chair. Okay. All right. So today we're going to talk about the rise and fall of FNAF fan games. Now I want to get straight up with you. I'm kind of baiting on this because FNAF fan games could be getting better. Just depends. Well, maybe I'm not. But here's the rise. So Five Nights at Freddy's, very influential franchise to video game history, and now making its remark as a cultural impact through movies. We're specifically gonna go back to its beginning, to its inception, mainly on the two important years of the early 2010s, 2014 and 2015. During those years, Five Nights at Freddy's at its infancy became the biggest thing ever. We started out with the first game. It was huge. People liked it. It was something new. The second game sort of cemented its legacy. It's got stuff that it's got to tell. And it's gonna be here. It's gonna stay for a long, 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 long time. Don't need to stretch it on the long, long, longest like I just did. I stopped at soft neck. But by FNAF 3 is when things start to get a little interesting. Because, like all popular pieces of media out there, not just pop culture, there's always there's always imitators. Like, the only obvious examples I could give in this video is like Star Wars. Like, back in the day, from the first movie back in 1977, Star Wars had a lot of rip-offs, and throughout the years just kept going on, but it did kind of die out throughout the 90s, from what I can at least tell you, because any rip-offs of modern Star Wars, like, mainly from like Disney, that I can remember was specifically like adult films, and I'm not going to show any clips or pictures of that. I'll just take that as my word. But that's just a famous example, and all the ripoffs are usually like cash grabs. This is where I'm getting at. It's all cash grabs. They all just try to get something from it, and it all just falls flat on its face. Now, there are examples of ripoffs all out there throughout media where it is an obvious ripoff, and it either is shameful about it, and either in denial, and it kind of protrudes with itself, or maybe it's just a coincidence. Like, the only example I could give for FNAF outside of fan game is the FNAF sort of like movies, with, we could say, obvious example would be Willy's Wonderland. As it's like, oh, it's not a FNAF ripoff, but it kind of is, but it's like not really, but like it's sort of like, it seems like you could assume that the creators glanced at the idea, but just never explored into the specific lores of the franchise. You can obviously tell with Willy's Wonderland that it is different from FNAF in many ways, especially in tone. But we're gonna talk about the FNAF fan games and how, like, a lot of media out there that references a lot of other media, but wears it honorably, like a badge, on their sleeve. The FNAF fan games, obviously, all are all shameless about being a fan game and a sort of ripoff of FNAF, but are more are for the most part are honoring the game that they were inspired to make this. And now we're gonna talk about the secret to the FNAF fan games. The secret was obviously Scratch. It was Scratch. Scratch coding, easy, you make the greatest FNAF fan games of all time are on Scratch. With that being said, Game Jolt is another huge example, specifically making some of the most popular FNAF fan games out there come from Game Jolt, and some of them did move on to Steam, I think. Like the only example I could give is Case Animatronics, but that one's kind of a different story, and it's sort of FNAF like, and it was on Game Jolt, but that one also might be a bit of a coincidence, like Willy's Wonderland. But what I'm saying here is back to my points that I got off track. FNAF 3 was about to come out. There was a teaser. There are teasers, and somebody tried to leak the game, and it was either they leaked the game or I think it was leaked the game. But I'm thinking, oh, they must have leaked like some secrets about it. But it was definitely trying to leak the game and like an early version of it. And it's not really like, it is sort of speculation for in my part, only because like we've never seen it, and the only leak that we had was intentional by the original creator of the game, and it was FNAF 3, but it was just a copy paste of an older game the creator made, and just put like Freddy's head on the character you're playing as when you're doing the jump as a jumping game, which is what it was. I should have an image on there if I'm not freaking lazy enough. But there was also another leak. It wasn't even a leak. It was a fake FNAF 3 that was made out. Or made out. Make out. What? No. Let me restate that. Somebody made a fake version of FNAF 3 on Game Jolt, and it got pretty popular to the point where the creator noticed the game and did send at least an email or a note saying to that creator of the fan game, like, hey, can you not like take this game down, or just don't like title it FNAF 3, since it is starting to mess with me, and people are asking, oh, is this the real game or is this like some type of fake game? And just disclose that it's not, and either take it down or just change it all. Just change it so that I don't need to, take any other enforced action to, try to take down the game if you're not going to take it down willingly. But I'm exaggerating at this part. And that game ended up changing to The Return to Freddy's, one of my personally one of my favorite FNAF fan games out there, mainly as a series, and something I do find a little bit of inspiration, even though I do know what happened. And I do know a lot about the creator's history and controversy. That's one thing I might say would be the fall of these FNAF fan games, as more did come out. And examples I could give is Five Nights at Treasure Island, Five Nights at Thomas. That one's really good. Obscure one would be Five Nights at the Illuminati, and of course one of the greatest fan-made games of all time, Five Nights at Pingus, Five Nights at F Boys, and then another one would be like One Night at Flumpty's, which is really popular and very popular with the FNAF community. And they all just sort of started rumbling in, and one of the most notable fan games I do have noticed throughout the years, specifically past 2016, would be Pop Goes and Five Nights at Candy's. Those had like the highest production at the time before Five Nights at Candy's would get remastered, the first game, and the same would go for Pop Goes, which is still kind of in development with Evergreen. Two other examples I'm going to give before I end off the video would be The Joy of Creation. That one was the hugest. There was Those Nights at Rachel's, but The Joy of Creation got the most traction and is one of the most popular FNAF fan games out there that lasted the test of time ever since its beginning of its inception. And another one is the most obscure one I did talk about a long time ago. It was Five Nights at Freddy's Dark Space. And it was like a pseudo. It was like the whole game was kind of a total scam, or I'll say total sham, because it never got made. But the teaser and concept was so cool to me when I was learning about this. Ever since I was hearing about the game being made, it was like Five Nights at Freddy's in space, and the story just seemed kind of absurd. But I was totally in for it because it would have been awesome to see. And it would have been like Five Nights at Freddy's, and it would have reminded me of Alien Isolation at the time, and it would have been so cool. But now it's just in development hell like for rest of eternity. But the teasers and images and what it was going to be and how big like it was going to be like the biggest FNAF fan game out there, it would have been so cool to see. But it's not, and we'll leave it at that. But that was just one of the shorter examples. But but what I'm trying to basically say is these FNAF fan games, they all seem to have like a nice. It all seemed to have like a nice niche ring to it, like since the beginning, and the fall of it, I don't know. It usually comes through over time. I'll say like past 2017, maybe 2018, but definitely during like the 2020s is when it has its quote unquote fall. And most of it really just comes down to either the games not being expanded upon because they're fan games and some people are not really like it's not like they're getting a financial gain through the game, and they're not able to support it, or people, the creators of the FNAF fan games aren't able to support it because of they have to, because they have lives outside that, or they have lives where they have to separate themselves from making the games, and a lot of it comes down to development personal issue, and most of it is kind of controversy. I know a lot of controversies, and I don't want to get too disclosed into it, but what I can tell you is that there is a lot of it. I'm not going to name any names. I am aware of a lot of it, and yeah, it is kind of a mess, especially now. But to wrap up this video, that's very loose and loosely contextualized, or put together this analysis of the rise and fall of FNAF fan games. Like I say, they haven't truly fallen. It's just the creators that from the past that can't, continue on in the future. And yeah, basically, there's nothing we can really do about it. Like some of the creators can't might had to step away from making games due to personal issue or just their own micro controversy within mainly the FNAF community or personal life. But yeah, to wrap up, but just to wrap up this whole video, the video title was a lie. The rise and fall of FNAF fan games is sort of a lie, and the truth to it is that since there are a lot of fans of FNAF, there will always be more FNAF fan games out there being made by other passionate people who want to contribute to at least sharing their love and their love for FNAF, as creating their own means of entertainment through fan games honoring and tributing the FNAF official game. There we go. That's the end of the video. We're gonna do the outro. Holy, I'm sweating like crazy. I did do the future. I did do the rise and fall. And then the lower. Okay, that one's just gonna be a joke. And the impact. You know what? That one's gonna be a joke too. Let's do those two then. These will be short videos. I'll make it shorter and then I'll see if I could. See, we could try playing one game with Cuphead, and then we're gonna end off the last unmuted stream until I make more unmuted streams later. Yeah, let's go with the caps. Oh my gosh. Okay. Fake video, but we'll make it short. Okay. So here's the concept. Thirsty, I need to drink water. Drink my sweat. Alright, give me a second. Comprehensive history. So we're just gonna go off the Afton family. We'll just make a joke about it because I know the Afton family. So we got Will I Am. Then we got Henry Stickman. Then there's obviously Michael. I think there's Charlie, who was Henry Stickman's daughter. I'm just gonna call him Crying Child because I don't know his name. His name is Gary Garrison. Then there was freaking Olivia the pig, who was the girl Elizabeth. Yeah, no Pirates of the Caribbean reference right there, not intended. And that's pretty much it. I don't know any other characters. There's probably a bunch of kids that William killed. What else can I say? We might lead into. Well, actually, no. I'm not. I'm gonna have to take out the Gregory stuff because I'm not too aware of it. Other than he might be a robot, and then the freaking girl from Security Breach was someone else, and then maybe Vanessa Vanny was a part of making the VR game, which is made as like a metaverse meta game that's like, oh, you hear these stories about in the newspaper if you live in the FNAF world, they're all lies. Here's this horror game that's obviously 100% fake and just a horror thing when it has its own secret lore with developers seeing cryptid spiritual horrors. So we're just gonna do the William Afton storyline and that's it. It's gonna end off on the sixth game, Pizzeria Simulator. But if you're watching this stream, I want you to know I know a bit of ball knowledge. I know the secret of what's his name? No, I know his name. It's kind of fuzzy. Vincent, yes, that's it. I know the secret. Purple guy used to be called Vincent before he was named William Afton, specifically in Sister Location. I'm so good, yes. So if you're watching this, you know what? That's my secret. I know about Vincent and what he was to the FNAF community before it got retconned to William Afton because it was a fan thing. All right, here we go. So here's the history. Here's a comprehensive guide to FNAF in its lore. We're specifically talking about the Afton storyline. If you want to know about everything else, you can just look it up. You can look up FNAF lore with everything else. All right, here we go. So we start off with William Afton and what's his name? Oh gosh, I'm already forgetting. Yeah, nice. This is good credibility to the freaking video. William and Henry. See, these guys are two good friends. I think Henry is American. I think William, not Dave. We might call him Dave throughout this video. He was an Englishman. I don't know specifically. They don't really give specific accents, but it would be funny if he was a specific accent. It would be funny if he was Scottish or Irish, but those aren't from England. Maybe he's from Birmingham. That would be hilarious. But the game takes place like around the 80s and 90s, sort of 70s. So he was like born in the earlier times of the 21st century, but not a bit too late from the half point. But what we're going to say is one day, William Schmilliam Billiam Dave Bethillium, the British inventor, very genius, very smart, moved to America. I think in Ohio, or was it Arizona? I don't know. Somewhere in the Midwest America, closer to California. And he meets up with Henry. These two, they're good friends, they're good pals, diddly 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 do. And William has this idea to make a franchise because he knows that Henry is a good inventor, just like him. They're both good inventors and they're both good at being good friends. And they both have established families. I forgot to mention that, but I didn't forget to mention that, and they do exist. Henry has a daughter named Charlie, and Henry the Stickman, and then William Stickman, the Vincent Stickman, has a wife, I think. Older son named Michelle, a crying child, second oldest son named Gary Garrison, Garrett the garbage man Garrison, the not cool one. Uh, David, no, that's different. That's with the mimic, but that's not in this story. Let's not get off track. Then he has the smallest daughter named Elizabeth. Now they're all in together. They're hearing. I can say they're building the restaurant, building the franchise all across America. The kids are like, wow, this Five Nights at Freddy's thing is really cool. And then chaos happens. See, there was a big secret I forgot to mention. William is one crazy guy, and what makes him the craziest is that He's a child killer, and it's pretty dark, especially for a franchise that's kind of marketed to kids. But kids like rated R stuff if the parents aren't watching. But I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is the story, and what happens next is crazy. William just kills a bunch of kids and stuffs them in robots. Does he think this is a genius plan? He does it a lot. They build more robots to try to stuff more, to try to hide the kids better than in older versions because they could smell it in the lore. They could smell blood, pus, and mucus. And they haven't, got the health inspector was just, all senses were not working when it comes to noticing the obviously odd nature of the freaking restaurant. And during that time, tragedy strikes. Crying child is traumatized by the robots and dies by getting his head bitten off. And then the daughter of Henry, Charlie, dies in an alleyway during a birthday. And then with the advanced animatronics at the sister location, Emily goes down or gets scooped in. And then what else we have? And then it's left to Michael. Michael was kind of pseudo responsible for his younger brother's death, and he feels bad, and he eats him alive. Henry was just devastated, and he just felt like a hermit through most of his life. But little did Henry know there was a saving grace known as Michael Afton. Before Michael Afton saved the restaurant, and specifically the kids and not the restaurant, William Afton destroyed the animatronic suits from a shutdown location, and he did it just to, to get rid of the evidence, or he was just trolling. But one thing is for sure: the ghosts of the children go up to him, scare him to the point where he thinks he needs to scare him back with one of his oldest suits, the yellow rabbit suits, and then he gets trapped, locked in his prism of abandoned restaurant forever for a long time. So we get to Michael Afton where he's older, and he's like, you know what, I might need to check out the place again because it appears that his father told him to come back somehow, some way, in some form, and he does through the sister location. Like 5 crazy nights. By the end of it, he gets scooped and becomes part robots. By the end of it, the more purpler he gets, like his father, he ends up becoming a freaking run zombie corpse that's not dead because his robot sister literally tells him he won't die, or one of the advanced sister location animatronics telling him that he will not die. What happens next is very insane. Michael comes back from the dead, realizes he needs to end it all, and as he's ending it all, what he means to do is to basically commit arson on all the Freddy Fazbear establishments. Oh yeah, and I did forget to mention there was a bite of '87 that was some random guy named Jeremy Smith, Jeremy Johns, Jeremy Renner, Jeremy something, Jenny Smith. I don't know, Minecraft Jenny. The bite of '87 happens, and then the mother. I think she left. Maybe she didn't leave. Nobody knows what happened to her except for William Afton, but I can't ask him because he's not here. And I'll explain to you why he's not here. So as Michael's going through place to place, burning all the buildings, it goes from one place to an old place that was a grand reopening. Then we go to a horror attraction in the future. And then Henry calls in Michael and is like, you know what? We can probably work together and take down your father and help the children, help my daughter. And they end up doing it. They build a new Freddy establishment. No issues. It only depends on how you played the game and if you got sued. But by the end of it, everyone besides Henry burned. Michael gets to rest. All the kids get to rest. William Afton is burning in an eternal flame, and that's why I can't get him to ask him what happened to his wife, because I don't know what happened to his wife. and Henry gets to get some closure, and that's the end of the William Afton story, the Afton family story, with the Henry Emily story, Charlie Emily. In the FNAF World game, I think it was alluded that one of the creators, who was I thought to be Henry, I don't know what he did. It looked like he freaking went to sleep and freaking spit out red ketchup, red blonde. I don't know. It looked like he died on a table, but that's not canon. But by the end of it, evil is defeated, and Five Nights at Freddy's. The truth about it is that the friends we made along the way is the real Five Nights at Freddy's. That's the lore. Very real, 100%, not fake. Just kidding, very fake. Happy April Fools. Good video. Oh, that's the benefit of not writing a script, you know? You know what the benefit is? Is that you sweat profusely. And it's also because this is live. Oh, man. This might be a bit of trouble, but, it'll be worth it by the end of it. Alright. I might have to redo that. Whew. That was a good practice run. I'm sweating profusely. Hopefully I lost a couple of pounds. Okay, this is gonna be an easy video. This will be short. Okay, let's go. 3, 2, 1. The impact of FNAF on gaming culture. This is very easy to talk about. Ever since 2014 of August, past the trailer and teaser of the FNAF game, the impact FNAF has had was beyond what anyone could have imagined. I must say, it profoundly has impact mainly on horror games and how it became a mascot. And it's one of the most popular mascot horror games of all time to this day. And there are imitators, but they can never. I mean, they could reach the level of, or they. I mean, they. In my opinion, they have reached the level of FNAF and surpassed it, but it isn't the same as FNAF because it's obviously something different, which is not bad. You know, something different and something new. But it's not to disclose the the obvious ripoffs of the FNAF fan games that have existed. And honestly, if you exist on that niche piece of knowing what that culture is on the FNAF community, you can know that that's a big impact, and those FNAF fan games have at least, helped develop careers for some of those astounding creators that have put the most effort into those games. And even to now, there's probably going to birth some new careers or some new creators through some new, really good games that, are really impressive to look at. Now, we're going to talk about outside fan game and the FNAF community. Its horror influence has been, irreplaceable, Like, it just came out right after Amnesia and Slender Man and SCP, which were some of the big names at the time, along with Creepypastas also kind of being in there, but like freaking Sonic.exe and I don't freaking know, Mario.exe, freaking Photo Negative Mickey, Pleasure Island, Treasure Island, whatever. As soon as FNAF got into the scene, yeah, a lot of it started to change. There were obviously ripoffs everywhere, and the mascot horror game started to become like the biggest theme, especially with horror. Like a lot of games, like there are some games that deviate from it, like there are other franchises and other standalone games that sort of do their own thing, and they're kind of also like very little of it. Well, once FNAF was at its peak of its popularity, around the time before it get transitions into the 2019 era of gaming of the horror game scene. Examples I could give to you of mascot horror games would be Case Animatronics. It's not the most popular one, but it is kind of more of an obvious ripoff, but sort of like the Joy of Creation. But it tried having the mascot, but it didn't really work due to the impact of due to the gaming quality. I'd say, in my opinion, a successful one would be Hello Neighbor, the greatest horror game of all time. and you can tell because the mascot character is Mr. Peterson. But yeah, my personal bias, I think it's pretty good, but pretty good impact on gaming culture. Even though everybody says it's a bad game, and I understand completely, but just like to play on this delusion. But we're gonna have to skip this part. If you see this part in the video, just know I forgot to edit it out, and I will edit it out. Don't worry about it. Everything else, by the time it turns into 2020s of the future, there were more noticeable impacts, specifically Poppy's Playtime, the most obvious mascot horror game. Then there was a bunch of more games like Poppy's Playtime, like Choo Choo Charles, a bunch of freaking Roblox crap, Finding Frankie, and a lot more. And I've specifically missed one game that's also another one that I genuinely like. Why it's so bad, it's so good qualities, and it's Garden of Banban. Obvious ripoff, but it came specifically from Poppy's Playtime since they did popularize a new style of mascot horror games where you can make a game, but instead of loosely, creating a sequel and then just expanding the franchise, you have a game set, but then you can buy the expansions later through the new chapters, which will tell a new story with new content, to maneuver through as a horror game. And that's what Garden Bam Bam did, and it perfected it to its maximum level, and the game was freaking hilarious. Despite my gripes in the past from past videos, Garden Bam Bam as an idea and as a freaking story idea, I think is genius, and I freaking love it for every aspect it is. Even the truth that it's pretty not in the good qualities. It's just not. It's seen more as bad than good from a common point of view. But one thing I can give away from this video is the impact of the FNAF gaming on gaming culture. It has impacted a lot, especially with obvious sequels and stuff. Not really remakes, but it also paves the way for a lot of horror, to branch out to other places, like the VR games, the not rip-off games, but expansion pack games, like more RPG style, you know, shoot 'em up game, run and gun shoot 'em up games that are like in the FNAF franchise, specifically with like FNAF World and Freddy in Space, and now with other games that are tied in after the old era of the Afton families type games. And yeah, now they're starting to do new things like 8-bit horror games, and now there's a Secrets of the Mimic with the Mimic or Edwin and David. So what I can't say is the impact is insane. And I gotta tell you, by the end, to wrap up this video, the impact will be certified when the new Mimic game comes out, specifically with Edwin and David, because Edwin made the Mimic. It was difficult to put the pieces together, and David wants ice cream. He got hit by a car. That's it. Oh my gosh. Oh, my benchmark was supposed to be 3 o'clock, but it's over. Oh, put the title away. Just put the title away. That video is for days. I'm about to get some work on these videos. I'm going to separate the audios, then put more gameplay. If you see another stream, it's probably it's going to be an unmuted stream. I'm just going to record some gameplay, and I will be streaming it, and I'll just put it on the VOD channel. But hey, if you find this video, or if you're watching this right now, I just want you to know that it's been quite the ride. I am glad I did this stream and I got a bunch of videos out. I'm going to get these out and also clean up my freaking desk in here so I can organize my life a bit more. But one thing I can say is, after these videos are published, I will be making more. I'm gonna focus on making more high quality videos. Definitely at least write a script and a rough draft, and at least try to revise it to make sense. And this videos will have at least a bit more organized comedy instead of being more freestyle like this. Like I'm improvising lines like I'm in a TV show or movie or make it some type of movie or whatever. Oh, it's over. Let's just let's just get the outro music on. This deserves outro music. Whew. I'm glad. Alright, let's send this once and for all. Alright, here we go. But yeah, after these videos get out, I will put a comment or not, no, what is it called? A community tab. I'll say I'm now gonna work on the other videos. Alright. Don't be too loud, please. Psycho killer. Couple last in my ear. Okay. Just give me a second. Hurry up so I can get out of this hot box. Gotta turn the fan on. A bit sinister. We can just leave it for a video. Let me find it. You know what? Maybe. You know what? I should use these for later videos. Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll also hint to the music. This will be the new music that will be used in the. I think yeah, it'll be used in the next videos. Yeah, that'll be out, and the rest of them. Give it a goofy tone. All right. We're ending it off here. Xbox, say goodbye. Goodbye. No, I'm just kidding. That was a horrible bit. We're just gonna leave it off.